The airline agent's voice cracked like a whip against the hum of the terminal. "Sir, your ticket has been cancelled." For a second, I didn't process the words. The sounds around me dissolved into a dull ringing, rolling suitcases, muffled chatter, the metallic echo of announcements bouncing off the high ceilings of the airport. I stared at her, blinking, waiting for the joke to resolve itself. Cancelled. I had checked in online 2 hours ago. I had cleared security. I had walked all the way to gate C12 imagining the warm smile on my mother's face when I landed. After 3 years of barely talking, this trip was supposed to be a first step toward healing. Cancelled. I repeated, my voice dry. "Yes," she said, eyes darting between her monitor and my stunned expression. "It was cancelled manually about 5 minutes ago. Do you have anyone else on your reservation? Someone with access to your account?" A chill cut down my spine. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. One new message from Mom. "Have fun walking home." My throat closed. The words hit with the force of a punch, sharp, humiliating, cruel in a way I had never imagined she was capable of. For a moment I just stood there, staring, the letters burning into me, as if they were branded onto the screen. "Sir, do you want to rebook?" the agent asked softly. I swallowed hard. "No," I whispered. "No, thank you." She didn't push. Maybe she saw something in my expression. Shock wrapped in betrayal, stitched with old scars I'd tried for years to cover up. I stepped away from the counter on unsteady feet, my pulse hammering. The bright airport lights suddenly felt too harsh, too exposing, as if everyone around me could see the message still glowing on my screen. Mom cancelled my ticket. Mom wanted me to walk home. Why? But I already knew the answer, or at least the version she believed. I had lied to her. Or, in her words, betrayed her trust. But the truth was far messier. And far more painful. I made my way outside, the automatic doors whooshing open with a rush of cold wind. Karachi's late-night air smelled of exhaust, dust, and a faint trace of the sea. My heart thudded unevenly, memories unraveling faster than I could suppress them. The argument. The silence. The truth she wasn't ready to hear. 3 days ago, I discovered something she desperately wanted buried. Something that turned the last 20 years into a distorted, half-constructed lie. I confronted her, thinking it would bring clarity, honesty, maybe even closeness. Instead, it lit a fuse. Her words still echoed in my head. "You want to destroy this family. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop digging into things that don't concern you." But they did concern me. They concerned all of us. And the more she denied it, the clearer it had become. She wasn't worried about my feelings. She was worried about her secret. One that started long before I was old enough to understand betrayal. One that involved a man she thought I would never discover. And one that had torn apart my father long before he built the walls he carries around like armor. I didn't plan on confronting her at the airport. I didn't plan on anything except walking up to her door, hugging her, and pretending, for one fragile moment, that we weren't a family built on fractures. But she made her choice. And now I was alone on the curb, phone still glowing in my hand, the night stretching out in front of me like a road leading nowhere. I typed quickly. "Why did you do that?" No response. I typed again. "Mom, please don't do this. I just want to talk." 3 dots flashed. Disappeared. Flashed again. My stomach twisted. Finally, a reply. "Come home the way your father did. Alone. If you want answers, earn them." What the hell did that mean? Before I could respond, another message came through. "And stay away from his house. Do you understand me?" The night around me darkened, deepened, shifted. People rushed past with their suitcases, oblivious. Somewhere in the distance a horn blared. A stray dog barked. But in my chest, something cracked, slow, deep, irreversible. Her house. My father's house. The house she forbade me from going to. The one she had spent 20 years pretending didn't exist. My breathing hitched. It wasn't just that she cancelled my ticket. It was the fear in her message. The urgency. The warning. If there was one thing I knew about my mother, It was this. She only panicked when the truth was dangerously close to surfacing. My hands shook as I typed. "I'm going there." She called immediately. I let it ring. Again. I ignored it. Again. Silence. Then a final message. "If you walk through that door, I will never forgive you." My throat tightened, but not with fear. With clarity. With a truth that had been knocking at the edges of my mind ever since I found that letter in her old drawer 3 nights ago. She wasn't protecting me. She was protecting herself. The rideshare driver glanced at me through the mirror. "Where to, bye?" I hesitated for one long, trembling breath. Then I said the address of the house I had never visited, the one my mother hated, the one my father had stopped talking about the moment I was old enough to ask questions. The one belonging to the man I had discovered in the letter. The man who signed his name. Daniel. Not my father. Not related. Not supposed to exist. And written next to his name was the line that destroyed everything I thought I knew. "I miss our son." The car moved through the night as my chest knotted tighter with every passing streetlight. The whole city felt suspended, its pulse slowed, its shadows thicker. Every memory, every suspicion, every moment of tension between my parents suddenly started rearranging themselves into a new, horrifying picture. My mother's distance from my father. My father's endless attempts to win her approval. Her explosive reactions whenever I asked about the early years of their marriage. Everything connected. Everything but the truth she refused to speak. Was Daniel my biological father? Was this why she didn't want me near him? Why she wanted me walking home like some kind of ritual punishment? I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of my entire childhood shifting under me like unstable ground. The driver cleared his throat. "Bye, this place is far." "I know. Late at night, too. Everything okay?" I opened my eyes slowly. "No. But I need to go." He nodded and didn't ask anything else. The road stretched endlessly ahead, lined with sleeping shops and flickering street lamps. Each turn felt like peeling back a layer of my life, exposing raw, bruised truths beneath. By the time we reached the address, my pulse was pounding in my ears. The house was dark. Tall. Quiet. The gate slightly ajar. As if someone had left in a hurry. Or expected someone to arrive. I stepped out, the night swallowing the sound of the car driving away. A rustle came from inside the gate. A shape. A shadow. Someone waiting. My breath caught. A man stepped into the dim light of the porch. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Older than my father by a few years. And unmistakably familiar. His eyes widened when he saw me, recognition flashing across his face like lightning splitting open a storm. He whispered, voice trembling, "James." My heart slammed against my ribs. He knew my name. Before I could speak, before I could even breathe, the front door slammed open behind him. Someone ran out. Panicked. Screaming, "Daniel, don't let him in. She's coming." My mother. She was on her way. And she wasn't coming to stop me. She was coming to destroy whatever truth waited inside that house. The man, Daniel, looked at me with desperation, fear, and something else. Something unbearably painful. "Son," he whispered. Everything inside me shattered. And the night erupted around us. For a moment, the world hung suspended. Daniel's trembling whisper, the echo of "son," the frantic warning from inside the house. All the clashing truths and half-truths of my life swirled together like dust caught in a violent storm. My heart slammed against my ribs so hard it hurt. I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared for any of it. But the night didn't care. The porch light flickered, casting a jittery glow across Daniel's face. His hands hovered at his sides as if he was terrified to reach for me, terrified that touching me might break both of us. I don't understand," I whispered. His mouth trembled before he opened it. "I'll explain everything. But you need to come inside. Now." Before I could answer, another voice burst through the doorway. A woman, maybe in her late 40s, firm expression, sharp eyes, stepped out behind him. "Daniel, she's already on the road. We don't have much tea." She stopped when she saw me fully. Her expression flashed from urgency to disbelief. Then, pity. She knew who I was. And she knew what I didn't. "James," she said softly. "Come in. Please." My legs felt numb as I stepped through the gate and crossed the threshold of a house that felt eerily familiar in ways I couldn't explain. A framed painting in the entryway. The faint smell of old books and cedar. A rug that reminded me of one my mother threw out when I was 13, claiming it held too many memories. No, this wasn't coincidence. This was history. A history I was never allowed to know. The woman closed the door behind us and immediately locked it. The click echoed through the house like a gunshot. Daniel motioned for me to sit on the couch. His movements were slow, deliberate, like he was approaching a wounded animal he didn't want to scare away. I sat, my fingers twining together so tightly they hurt. He sat across from me, leaned forward, and clasped his hands. His eyes, my eyes, held a sorrow so deep it rooted itself inside my chest. "James," he said, his voice shaking. "I never thought I'd get the chance to see you again." My breath caught. Again. His eyes glistened. The woman, who I now recognized faintly from a photo I'd seen tucked into that letter, sat beside him. "Your mother will be here any minute," she warned. "He needs to know the truth now." Daniel nodded slowly. Then he looked at me and spoke words that made my world tilt off its axis entirely. "I am your biological father." The room spun. I felt myself falling inward, like the ground beneath me had opened into a bottomless pit. "No," I whispered. No. But even as I said it, denial felt weak. Thin. Transparent. Because a part of me had known ever since reading that letter. A part of me had known since childhood, in moments I buried because they felt too strange, too out of place. My mother's distant affection. My father's desperate attempts to make her happy. The way their fights would end with my father retreating silently, almost ashamed, as if the argument wasn't even about him, but over something he had no power to change. "Your father, your legal father, knew," Daniel said gently. I looked up sharply. "What?" "He knew," Daniel repeated. "He married your mother anyway. Loved you anyway. He raised you because he wanted to, not because he was forced to." My throat tightened, my lungs fighting for air. That explained so much. My father's sadness. His silence. His guilt he had no reason to carry. "Why?" I croaked. "Why did any of this happen?" Daniel exhaled slowly, painfully. "Your mother and we were in love. Deeply. But her family didn't approve. They forced her into the marriage with the man you call father now. She agreed because she was scared. Scared of losing her family, scared of what they would do if she chose me." I stared at him, stunned. "She was already pregnant with you when she married him," the woman added. Daniel nodded. "We thought we could stay in contact. Thought we could find a way to make it work. But after you were born, she cut all ties. She told me never to contact her again. She said if I loved you, I'd let you grow up with a stable life." His voice broke on the word love. "I didn't want to disappear," he continued. "But she left me no choice. And when I did try to reach out, she threatened me." A slow burn of anger unfurled inside me, tightening my jaw. Threatened him. My mother. The same woman who lectured me about honesty and family unity. The one who cut off my ticket, who blocked my way here. The ugly truth was settling into place. She wasn't scared of me being hurt. She was scared of being exposed. "Why now?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Why did she panic when I found out? Why tell me to stay away from your house?" Daniel exchanged a look with the woman. It was heavy, sad, predetermined. "She didn't want you to see me," he said quietly. "Or see what she did to keep me away. She has always lived in fear that someday you would come looking. That someday you'd realize the truth she buried." He hesitated. "And I think, deep down, she was afraid you'd choose me." I flinched. Because even in this moment, hurt, betrayed, furious, I felt a part of myself responding to the man before me. Not because biology suddenly mattered, but because the sincerity in his eyes was undeniable. The grief. The longing. He hadn't abandoned me. He had been erased. A sharp pounding crashed against the door. 3 heavy, furious blows. The woman stood abruptly. She's here. My stomach turned cold. Another round of banging, this time followed by my mother's voice. Open this door right now. Daniel stood slowly. James, stay where you are. But I couldn't. I rose as if pulled by gravity, my legs moving before my mind caught up. The woman grabbed my arm gently. It's better if he speaks to her first. But I shook her off. No. She did this to me. She owes me answers. The pounding grew louder, angrier. James, she screamed. I swear to God, open this door. Daniel walked toward the door, shoulders squared but trembling. He cracked it open just an inch. My mother shoved through with surprising force. She looked wild, hair disheveled, eyes wide with something between panic and rage. When her eyes landed on me, they filled with something else entirely. Fear. James, she breathed, voice shaking. You shouldn't be here. I stepped forward. Why? Because the truth lives here. Because he lives here. Her jaw tightened. You don't understand anything. Then explain it to me, I said. Tell me why you lied for 20 years. Tell me why you hid him. Tell me why you kept me from knowing who I am. Her face crumpled. For the first time in my life, my mother, always so controlled, so guarded, so composed, looked small. I did it to protect you, she whispered. No, I said quietly. You did it to protect yourself. Tears welled in her eyes, but anger flashed just as quickly. You think I wanted this? You think I haven't suffered every day? Daniel stepped beside me, but said nothing. My mother's eyes flicked to him, full of fury. You don't get to stand next to him, she spat. You lost that right the day you walked away. Daniel's face twisted. You told me to walk away. You begged me to. You made me think it was the only way to keep him safe. You could have fought harder, she choked out. You could have. Mom. I snapped. She froze, eyes locking on mine. I swallowed the tightness threatening to choke me. You can't blame him for a choice you forced on him. You can't blame Dad for raising me with love when you couldn't even love him back. And you can't blame me for wanting the truth. The room fell silent. Everything, all the years of tension, all the fragmented memories that never fit, all the buried truths, rose to the surface. My mother wiped her cheeks, her breathing frantic. James, she whispered. Please. Come home with me. We can talk there. Not here. I looked at Daniel. Then at her. Then at the woman, who stood quietly in the corner, watching decades of secrets unravel. No, I said. My mother's face fell. James. I'm not going anywhere with you tonight. I cut in. Not after you cancelled my ticket. Not after you tried to stop me from coming here. Not after everything you've hidden. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I did it because I was scared. For me? I asked. She hesitated. Too long. No, I said softly. You were scared for yourself. Her breath hitched, as if I had knocked the wind out of her. I'm staying, I finished. I need answers. I need to know my truth. She shook her head frantically. If you stay here, if you choose him, I don't know if I can. Forgive me. I finished. Survive it, she whispered. And that was the twist I never saw coming. Not anger. Not resentment. But fear. Fear of losing the one person she believed was still hers. Fear of being alone with her choices. Fear of facing the consequences of the lie that shaped all our lives. I took a slow breath. Mom, I said quietly. For 20 years, you made every decision for me. You controlled the story. You shaped the truth. But this, I gestured around the room, to Daniel, to the house, to the night collapsing around us. This choice is mine. She staggered back a step, as if the floor beneath her had cracked open. Daniel stepped forward slightly, not touching me, not claiming me, just standing by me. I didn't choose him over her. I chose myself. And that was something she never prepared for. Her voice, when it finally broke through the silence, was barely audible. Then I guess I've lost you. A cold heaviness spread through my chest. No, I whispered. You lost me the day you decided I didn't deserve the truth. My mother's sob cracked loudly through the room. She turned, stumbled toward the door, and left without another word. The door slammed shut behind her, leaving a trembling echo. Silence settled again. Daniel didn't speak. Neither did I. We just stood there, two strangers bound by blood, betrayal, and 20 years of silence. Finally, he exhaled shakily. James, I can't promise you this will be easy, or simple, or painless. I looked up at him, feeling the weight of everything pressing down on me. But I can promise you this, he continued quietly. You deserved the truth. And from now on, you will have it. The emotion hit me all at once, a tide I couldn't outrun. For the first time in my life, I let myself feel everything. The betrayal. The heartbreak. The confusion. The shame. The anger. And beneath it all, a fragile, trembling thread of hope. Not for a perfect family. Not for a perfect truth. But for a chance, finally, to reclaim the pieces of myself that were stolen before I ever knew they existed. I sank into the couch, overwhelmed. Daniel sat across from me. The woman brought water. And somewhere in the distance, a car engine faded into the night, a mother driving away from the truth she spent her life trying to hide. I closed my eyes. For the first time in 20 years, I felt the weight of a story that finally belonged to me.